That was a very enjoyable experience that week, and it just made me realize, when I was doing shrooms, I had a thought of like, you know what? I'm not happy, and you can learn it in a day, but it takes a lifetime to master. I think the goal is just being able to create something and tell a story, and motivate a call to action.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Foundations. So far, this has been my favorite series to do because I get to introduce you guys to some of the most influential and inspirational people that I meet on my journey. Today is no exception. I'm joined by someone I met in Toronto recently, and I've been following him since then, and he's making a huge impact on the people around him. His name is, I'm gonna get this right. Are you ready for this? We argued about
I'm ready for you to fail. No.
We got Jose Gallegos, right?
Gallegos. Ooh, Gallegos.
Yes.
There you go.
Jose.
I give you a 9. Hey guys.
My good friend Jose. Jose's here. Jose was part of the Evan Carmichael workshop that we did, and just getting to know him and seeing what he's doing. He was like a live wire. We were at karaoke together, which I think is a bonding thing for anyone. Once you share that room, that's it for the rest of your time. So, Jose, before we go into what you're doing, what your dreams are, all that, and how you're changing things, I want to know what gets you up every morning and why do you do what you do?
Great question. So, I start my day off with my gratitude journal, and I write kind of the little small things that you should be grateful for. That's being my family, having opportunities, just being able to walk and be healthy. But I think every day what fills me up is just having a new start where I can go and conquer my days. And I always look at just the micro, like I'm very short-term focused on the day. So I'm just excited. I have a whole 24 hours that I can do, and I can play, I can explore, I can create. And that alone just gets me juiced and speed through my day.
So let's have some fun now. So what do you do?
I need to get like a physical challenge. I need to wake up. So I usually like to go jogging or go hiking. And I think I need to remind myself every day that I need to work hard, and it's uncomfortable. It's going to suck, and it's going to hurt. So by myself starting just running and doing 4 miles running, and in the middle of it, I want to quit. I'm like, no, but just keep pushing. I think that mentality then kind of carries on through the rest of the day. And it just flows very nicely each time I do that. And the rest of the day is just now less about planning and more about doing, as Evan Carmichael said. The 95-5 rule, spend 5% planning and 95 doing. And that's what I do most of my days nowadays.
But that execution's so important. Too many people just go, most people have that backwards. They plan 95%. They think that they can execute in that 5, which is just insanity.
And that used to be me. Yeah.
Oh, but that's it. I put my hands up as well. I was that.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be, what is it? Analysis paralysis. You're paralyzed because you're constantly trying to get it perfect. But another cool thing which you do, which is very similar to me and every single high performer that I speak to with your morning routine, is getting out and moving. And no matter how many years you do it for 6 months, a year, and whatnot, it's always going to, like, I've not met anyone who goes, yeah, I get up and I go and do it, and I'm going to do that hard workout of that run, and I love it every time. Sometimes it sucks, but the discipline you're getting from that is just, it pays off in dividends. So I'm happy to see people like yourself who are using that, because it is one of the best traits of the successful people.
It's the most essential thing, that the morning routine. If you study like whoever, it's like if you can master your morning and have time to reflect and move and get excited, then that's such a good tool for you to use for the rest of the day.
I use I love the Mel Robbins 5-second rule. Like 5 seconds, I'm out of bed. 5 seconds, the shoes are on. 5 seconds later, I'm in the weights room. 5 seconds, I'll just warm up. Since I'm here and I'm warmed up, I might as well just do half the workout. I'm halfway through, and then bam. And if you apply that to everything else, but it's you're bang on the money there. And morning routine, even like today, I was traveling and whatnot. Is still important. You got to do it. But
absolutely.
Tell the beautiful people what you're doing with your life. How are you having an impact on people? What is your outlet? Are you a creative? Are you a motivator? Are you an influencer? Do you do little drawings? We want to know.
I know. So my background is with marketing. It all started with me being young. At a young age, I loved watching commercials, and as strange as it sounds, or looking at print ads and just looking at like how could it be done better. So since a young, and then loved watching films and stories. So that turned into a career in marketing, and that's where I spent the last 8 years. And then about last year, I made the leap of faith to kind of quit my corporate job and then start my own marketing agency, which I've been doing for the year. And then on the side, my side projects are creating my films, my documentaries. I whatever it's for a client or just doing a passion project. I think the goal is just being able to create something and tell a story, and motivate a call to action. And that drives me. That I love telling good stories and trying to make people care about a story or about your character. It's very challenging, and marketing is one of those things that you can learn it in a day, but it takes a lifetime to master. And there's an art and science of it, and I'm in love with it.
Well, something you said there, which I know people are just gonna. I can hear the people shouting at me through the computer to ask you this, but I love that you're an artist, and I'm an artist as well, and I know a lot, and that creativity I think connects people. But what people would love to know is, how was that jump for you going out of what I would call the safety net of convention into actually doing what you want to do? And I don't know how far along your journey you are, but I commend you for the bravery it takes to do that. I've done that myself many times and tripped and failed and had to create things. But how was it for you, and what was the kind of authentic emotions that went with that?
Yeah, I think I had a micromanaging boss and was telling me what, like, everything to do, and I didn't have any outlet of like creativity. And for any creative out there, you know the feeling when you're too locked in and you're not being able to be flexible or really show your true talent. So, and I'm a very passionate personality, so when I'm not being able to create, it turns into like depression. I'm not myself. It doesn't bring out the best in me. And I think I was just tired of being sick and tired. And, you know, it's just one of those things you thought of. And I'll be honest, there was one weekend where I did shrooms, and that was a very enjoyable experience that week. And it just made me realize, when I was doing shrooms, I had a thought of like, you know what? I'm not happy. And I'm like, why am I not happy? Because I'm at this job. Okay, quit. And I knew this along, but it just sparked a huge light bulb. And I was telling my friends, they're like, okay, calm down. You know, you just took too much. I'm like, no, it's okay. And then the next day I felt like, no, this is not something temporary. And the next day was Monday. And I was like, you know what? I'm ready to do this. And I was right. And it was I think my friends and family were more worried about me, but I knew it was right, and I'm so glad I did it.
I've heard so many stories about mushrooms and how it's changed people's lives. I know over here in the UK at the moment, one of the biggest studies of microdosing for psilocybin's happening right now, and it's pretty hard because we got such cold weather, getting the conditions right. But I've heard so many amazing things about people being able to kind of sidestep their ego and sidestep what they believe their consciousness is through something like that. Like, I'm a huge marijuana advocate. I think it's a phenomenal, used correctly, it's a phenomenal aid for creativity, but also it can show you things that you right in front of you that you've never seen before. As well, ayahuasca, which is it's one of my things I need to do in my life, I believe. I do the relationship stuff. I do the coaching and all that. Well, I tell people the reason I'm so good at it is because I've messed up. I've mucked up more than anyone. And that's allowed me to see what's right. But I do believe in that wrong, and the amount of times I've messed up, there needs to be this kind of, I need to face it. And I think that's going to happen when I go down to Peru, get into like a little kayak, swim down the river, find some man in a dress, and then just lose my fucking mind.
Like, and trust your life with this guy, right?
Yeah, you
Yes.
just go into the random woods and trust your life to this man wearing some like palm tree dress, and yeah, I can't. For some reason that excites me. But yeah, every like
Yeah,
Aubrey Marcus did an amazing documentary on ayahuasca and the effects of like DMT and stuff. And yeah, as a creative, I'm all about it. I think how alcohol is legalized, yet these things are seen as the forbidden kingdom. I think
exactly.
it's a very strange thing. But
And I live here in Silicon Valley, so the whole kind of microdosing, kind of liberal perspective of like hallucinogens. I mean, why am I? I can't pronounce it. Oh my god,
hallucinogenics.
I don't know. I
How
think
much have you
something's
taken
wrong with it. I
today?
know. I probably that's just coffee. But this whole area is very influenced by it, and also like Burning Man used to be here, so I was actually talked into it because of my coworker. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That was one of the best things that ever happened. And I I say it a lot. Like I don't like spending my time around people I don't enjoy. And when I met you, you're one of the most charismatic people I met off the bat. A lot of passion. And then now
thank
how
you.
you kind of rally the troops in a way with making sure everyone's okay, with how would there, because there was a lot of people who went to the workshop, and they were in a shell and they're slowly coming out, and it's great to see someone like you who's got this really loving, kind persona who's kind of coaxing them out, saying, "Come on, it's safe to play." So I know from me and all the people around, we'd love to thank you for that, and it's been awesome seeing you interact with people online.
No, and it's my honor, and I do it selfishly because I'm like I don't want to let go of this momentum and being able part of a community of very like-minded and just full on like hustlers and being super passionate. Like you can't find that all the time in your like day to day. Like you walk around, getting coffee, and everyone's kind of like just zombies and kind of like their own thing. So that's why I'm doing it, and yeah, let's see where it goes.
Well, let's talk about where it goes. So you're doing what you're doing. You're creative. You're making you've got your media agency and you're doing that. But what's the impact that you want to have, and what means are you going to be using to try and get that? So do you want to change the world through your art? And is that through inspiration, or do you have a certain kind of message to send? Just let us know.
Yeah, I think there's like two goals. The first goal, I think, is just with my marketing agency, finding good clients that actually have good products and being able to. I think in marketing, marketing is really a lot of it is just people selling things that you don't need. And I actually want to be of value and actually work with really cool companies who actually want to do great things. And I think the second goal is with my films, my documentaries. And I think as I traveled around the world, I learned that we're actually all the same, and we all have the same fears, the same challenges, same insecurities. And we just need to see each other as the same person. And I think the best way to do that, especially now with data and journalism being ridiculed, it's with stories. If you can tell a story and for someone to see themselves in the story, you can pretty much convince them of anything. And for me, it's that goal of just showing that we're all alike. Let's just be nicer to each other. Let's support each other. Let's like exactly what I'm doing it, but in a way where I can reach a lot more people.
And is there anyone doing something similar to what you'd like to be doing in the world now? Someone like a mentor, someone you look up to. Like off the top of my head, I'd think like Casey Nayak, maybe people like that who are
Yeah,
in that creative space, but trying to do it for the right reasons.
I love Johnny Harris, who works for Vox. He's more of a journalist, but he just basically goes to really remote areas. He has a new series where borders, and he talks to locals and tries to get like stories there and try to change the perspective. So that's one who I look forward to. But now I'm starting to trust my own instinct and trying to be not the best Casey or the best Johnny. It's to be the best me, and that's just by through repetition. Um, so I think now I'm less about like, okay, stop looking at everyone, what else is doing, and now just trust yourself and, do what feels right. And that's something that just started this year. So we'll see. that I'm really excited because now I'm just trusting my intuition, and I think with the content, hopefully it comes off like more like me.
Well, that you kind of you beat me to the answer, because I think one issue that people are doing is they're comparing themselves to everyone at the moment. Everyone loves to
You know,
compare, and unfortunately, that's one of the downfalls of social media. Everyone's showing the best of highlights of their life, and you're there at
yeah,
home
yeah,
with your dog and your glass of wine, and you see someone else who's out partying. They're not doing it. So yeah, not comparing yourself is so important, and I'm really really glad you hit that out the park there. So for the people who are interested in what you're doing, because the key thing about foundations is following these stories, following people's journeys, and literally, as you said, following the stories. People want to see the story unfold. They want to watch this, and then they want to watch you in a year and be like, "Wow, look at that! That's insane! I was there." So, where can they? What's the best platforms to find you on? And as you're saying it, by the way, the addresses will magically appear through editing.
with pixie dust
If
and
I'll do that just for you.
Tinkerbell's gonna fly in.
I'll do like the special effects just for you.
So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jose Angelo Films, and there you can view all of my films that I've done in the last year. And you can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram on Jose Angelo. And there I share my content, or also just tips and advice on how to tell better stories. And my goal is to kind of, marketers have a really bad reputation, is to try to change that, and instead of just provide marketing, is provide value.
Boom. Pixie dust right there.
Boom.
Just before we go, I love asking people, like, if you had this as your stage and you want to talk to the world, what is something that you want to say to them? Just to, like, something that you go, I wish more people would do X or think Y. What would you say?
For me, it's just to turn your pain into purpose. And I believe in looking at the silver lining, and everything happens for a reason. And your life is a story, and you can either be the victim or you can be the hero, and choose to be the hero. It's not easy, but I think if you surround yourself and change your environment around positive people, positive ideas, just the whole positive perspective, you can do it. And we're all here to root you on.
I love when I get to speak to people like you, and you're more insightful than like the A-listers and the superstars we chat to, because some of them give this generic content, but people like yourself, like Jay Rise, like Michael, like Chris and stuff, it all comes from the heart. They're like, I wish more people did that. So man, that's going to be like the edited bit in the intro, and when you get to this bit, you're going to be like, oh, here it is.
Awesome.
But Jose, it's been awesome chatting to you. All the links are going to be on here. Thank you guys so much for watching Foundations, and we'll see you for another Foundation story soon.